Of course, the Oscars were the other night, and while I didn't love all the results, I loved most of them, but not all of them, the show itself, the event, the ceremony was absolutely fabulous. I mean, like I've said for many, many, many years, going back to the movie blog days, that the Oscars are my second favorite day of the year other than Christmas. And I feel like every year I end up the day after the Oscars going, yeah, it was all right, or that year was terrible, or this one was okay or pretty good. You know, I did open mic yesterday, and I asked my audience. I said, for those of you who've been around for at least following for at least 5 years, when's the last time I was actually like really hyped and pumped about the Oscar ceremony? And like a bunch of people wrote in and said, John, I've been following for 10 years. I don't remember once you being that excited for the Oscars. I just thought they did a fabulous, fabulous job. Well, apparently it also shows in the ratings because they had a 4-year high at the Oscars in the ratings, and the third consecutive year that viewership has continued to go up for the Oscars. Now, this comes from the folks over at The Wrap who write the following. Hollywood's Biggest Night scored 19.5 million total viewers Sunday night on ABC, according to Nielsen's. By the way, that number's been adjusted to 19.8 million. Anyway, according to Nielsen Fast Nation National Live and Same Day data, the telecast of the 96th Academy Awards marked a 4-year high in total viewers, including a 4% increase compared to the 18.8 million who tuned in to the Sunday night telecast in 2023. Last year's broadcast saw a 13% uptick in total viewership compared to the 16.7 million views the awards show nabbed in 2022. All right. So I want to put this into perspective. At 19.8 million views, we're only early in the year of 2024, but if I want to cross that with 2023, 19.8 million views would have made this year's Oscars the number one viewed broadcast of the year for anything without the letters NFL in the broadcast title. So nothing else, not NBA Finals, not Love is Blind, not Secret Chef or whatever it else. The number one broadcast would have been the number one broadcast of the year. But secret. But you want to see something funny? Okay, so don't bring it up quite yet, Jonathan.
All right.
But I went out to just kind of look at, okay, so where would it, and I realized it would have been the number one broadcast of the year for anything other than NFL. But this is pretty funny. If you want to know the domination of the NFL, take a look at this. This is the most watched broadcasts of 2023. Number one was, of course, the Super Bowl. Number 2 was an NFL playoff. Number 3 was an NFL playoff. Number 4 was an NFL playoff. Number 5, NFL playoff. Number 6, NFL Thursday night game. Number 7, just Sunday football. Number 8, NFL football. Number 9, NFL football. Number 10, NFL football. Number 11, number 12, number 13, number 14, number 15. Finally, we got down. So at 19.8, this year's Oscars would have bumped out last year's Oscars for the number 15 spot. Again, then if you just take out the NFL things, it would have been number 1. Again, if you were at all a little bit unsure about the absolute domination of the NFL, there's a pretty good example for you. Now, let's get back to the Oscars. This is a 3-headed piece of good news for the Oscars. Number 1, biggest they've had in 4 years, because, especially in the years prior to that, it would start to struggle a bit. Number 2, third consecutive year that the viewership has been going up. That's exactly the kind of trend they want to see. But here's the third piece of good news. With this year's Oscars being finally awesome, because I honestly cannot remember the last time I thought the Oscars were awesome. It's been a long time. But with this year's Oscars being awesome, I can pretty much guarantee you right now that next year's Oscars will be the new record and will be the 4th time in a row. Because I think the vast majority, at least all the online conversations I've seen, most people had a great time watching the Oscars last night. I think next year the numbers will be up even more again. God, that John Cena moment is still one of my favorite moments ever at the Oscars. So much great stuff happened at it. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video,
Harry's. You know, guys, in order to start the John Campea Show, I had to leave my high-paying corporate job in order to set myself up to be happier and enjoy more personal success. Because sometimes to get what you want, you have to challenge the status quo and blaze your own trail. And that's exactly what the folks at Harry's did. You see, at Harry's, they saw customers getting ripped off by questionable products in the shaving industry and decided to do something better. Harry's decided to pave their own road by making beautifully designed razors for a fraction of the price of the other big brands. Exceptional products, honest prices. That's Harry's. I have fallen in love with Harry's, from their foaming shaving gel that feels just luxurious on the skin, to their incredible razor that feels just as good in the hand as it does going over your skin. They've got rich, lathering, skin-softening body wash in scents like redwood, wildlands, and stone. You see, Harry's provides German-engineered blades made in their own factory that stay sharp longer. You can get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover for just $3 at harrys.com/Campea. Don't settle for the status quo. Blaze your own trail with Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/Campea. That's harrys.com/Campea for a $3 trial set.
So, I mean, all around, this is really terrific news for it, Chris. So you see these numbers. Does it surprise you to see them went up? I mean, we did have the whole phenomenon of Oppenheimer this year. I mean, next year we're going to have the whole Dune 2 and everything. You know, hopefully Deadpool will be up for Best Picture. It's not going to be up for Best Picture.
It could
but
be.
One can hope.
Who knows?
One can hope.
Hope springs eternal.
What's your biggest takeaway from all these numbers we're seeing?
That tuning in again to see if somebody got slapped wasn't a fluke. You know, because I really feel like last year it was some other shit gonna
What's going to happen this year?
What's going to happen?
Who's going to lose their mind?
And this year, I feel like it was this big push of just, we had a great year of movies. We had really, really fantastic movies, and a lot of movies that I think people typically would not go out and see on their own that did get a lot of love from your average viewer. I mean, Past Lives, so many people went and saw that this year that I think in other years they wouldn't have. We had so many people talking about both Oppenheimer and Barbie because of the Barbenheimer of it all, right? We had these great big milestones in cinema, it felt this year. It felt like a real big return to going to the movies, which was very exciting. And I think especially post-strike, having movie news, being able to talk about movies, being able to talk about what we're seeing in theaters and what we're enjoying is great. And it was a well-done show. It was executed so well. Jimmy Kimmel did an excellent job. The speeches were all fire. Everyone did a great job this year.
You know what? Here's the thing. The speech everybody was talking about was Glazer. Is that how you pronounce the director's name for the best international feature?
Oh yes,
right.
Is it Tony Glazer? Is that his name?
I can't remember his name.
Sorry.
Everybody's talking about his speech. That was the one category I missed.
Really?
Yeah, I chose when it got to best international feature. That's when I decided to go make my prolonged bathroom break, and I went off to the bathroom and I didn't see it.
So Jonathan Glazer.
Oh, Jonathan Glazer.
Tony Glazer's a film
people
producer.
were asking like yesterday, man, what do you think of Jonathan Glazer? I'm like, wait a minute, is he the one about the Ukraine? It's like, no, that's the one I missed. But that's the speech everybody's talking about. That's the moment I missed.
There were a lot of powerful moments. There were really great moments just from other actors and writers and everything. I love what, Cord is, what is his last name, from American Fiction, the writer-director of that. I loved his speech talking about, hey, all film is a risk. So maybe instead of these $200 million ones, we make $10 million ones and we just take that risk and we see what happens. Everything I think was just so great and such a love letter to movies, which is what the Oscars should be. And then we had great performances too. I mean, the I'm Just Ken performance is one of the best things I've ever seen from the Oscars.
Listen, Canadians rule. I mean, Ryan Gosling there, good Canadian representation on stage. But when the camera swung around and it showed that he was standing there with
Slash,
I'm like, of course he's standing with Slash and doing that.
And this too was not only a love letter to Barbie, but to Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. There's so many great moments this year, and I think people just really tuned in because they were actually invested. And a lot of times I think the Oscars and what people enjoy, there's a big rift between them, kind of popular vote versus the Electoral College. And this year I feel like we had this really great crossover event of people really enjoyed these and they were critically acclaimed. And that's really fun when those two collide.
And it'll be really exciting to see how this evolves next year.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how they top themselves this year. But by the way, this came up yesterday. I want to know what you think. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm more of I prefer movie personalities to host the Oscars, the biggest night of the movie year. But I thought Kimmel was very solid. And
Yeah.
I would have no complaints at all if they announced that Kimmel hosted again next year. I'll be fine with that. But
Okay.
I want to throw a name at you. Tell me what you think. Somebody else brought this up yesterday, but I want to see what you think. John Mulaney hosting the Oscars.
Oh, that'd be fun because he did the Independent Spirit Awards several times with Nick Kroll. And those
did
were
he actually
hilarious.
host?
Yeah, they
I
were
had
so
no
funny.
idea.
They were so funny.
Because you saw his presentation. He presented.
He did a great job. I highly recommend watching his opening monologue that he and Kroll did. You can just YouTube it. Super, super fun. They were on fire when they did it. It was a blast. I'm still holding out. I really want the Muppets to do it. And I know that's basic, and you know you can expect that from me, but I want the Muppets to host the Oscars. I'd
What is
love
this,
it
like
so much.
1976?
I wish it was, Jonathan.
Back when dreams came true?
Back when Muppets could do anything, and
Yeah.
maybe I couldn't have a bank account. I don't know.
Somebody suggested Dave Chappelle hosting the Oscars.
Yeah, there you go.
I'd watch that just to see what happens. You know, a quick
I'd be
side thing.
nervous. I'd be nervous
be
the
nervous.
whole time.
A couple of months ago, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock performed together at what's the arena where the Anaheim Ducks play? The Pond?
I think it was. It
Looked
used to
that
be the
way.
pond.
Yeah, it used to be called. Now it's the Honda Center
Yeah,
or
Honda
something like
Center,
that.
there you go.
So this big hockey arena and stuff like that. I'll tell you what, it was. I thought I was going to have to be hospitalized because it was like 2.5 hours of nonstop my ab muscles, like in a constant state of flex because you're laughing, like I couldn't like it was one of the best live comedy shows I've seen in a long time. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What's your big takeaway from this? Apparently it was the biggest show they've done in 4 years. It's the third year in a row that the ratings have continued to go up. What do you expect for next year? Who would you like to see host next year? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.